some coffee grounds, we've got our oatmeal from breakfast, we've got some peels of mangoes, all kinds of yummy stuff. We're gonna close it up. It is on Eco Express mode. After that, all you do, press the button. But in 3 to 5 hours, we're gonna have dirt. How cool is that? My family and I bought a 75-foot fishing vessel built during World War II and brought her down from Alaska. We're trying to live sustainably and adventurously. We support a nonprofit called Onward Industries. You should check it out. As we make this beautiful old boat our home, we're looking for a mix of modern comfort and timeless cool. Alright, so what does it do? This uses a process of mixing and agitating, grinding, heating, and cooling to turn your food waste into dirt. I know, like actual dirt. It's pretty incredible. And the other thing that it does, which is really helpful, is it takes a big volume of food waste. You fill this container, there's a bucket inside. You fill this bin about 75% of the way full with your food waste. The dirt that comes out of it at the end is just a small fraction of that. So you're greatly reducing the mass, and that makes it much more convenient to deal with. Okay, the unit itself is pretty cool. It weighs 25 pounds, so it's a chunky little thing. It's about the size of a bread maker. It looks really nice. It's got a clean kind of stylish modern look. It's plastic, but it kind of has that soft texture look. We keep ours under the table in our salon because we just don't have a lot of counter space in Lindy. But this is great. It's a good spot for it. It's right across from our galley where a lot of the food is made. It's right next to the table where a lot of food is kind of left discarded because we have 2 kiddos, and as hard as we try to get it right, it's inevitable. And that means we can just hop over and put our food waste in the Lomi, pop the top off, put it in, and close it. The way we use it is as kind of an ongoing trash can for our food. So, we don't save things up in a separate bin and then put them in there. We're, I think, generating enough food waste, which I'm sort of shamed to say, that we're doing a cycle at least once a day, if not a couple times a day. You put your food waste inside, you clip your top on, you select one of the 3 different modes with a long press of the button, and when you're ready to go, you just press the button and it starts the cycle. You hear it kick into gear, it goes and starts agitating and grinding. That's a little loud. Again, I'll use a bread maker analogy. It's kind of like a bigger bread maker on knead mode. You know how you're just hearing a lot of noise and a lot of sound. It's nothing you can't talk over, but it's definitely audible. So it's something you want to keep in mind as far as where you're going to use it, when you're going to use it, and it creates dirt. Now, what does that mean exactly? That's an important question. What is this dirt and what can you do with it? Okay, so there's 3 modes here. There's Eco Express, there's Lomi approved, and there's Grow mode. What do those mean? Eco Express is the quickest. It takes about 3 to 5 hours and greatly reduces the bulk of your food waste. We use Eco mode kind of as our base mode. We'll go from an empty bucket to about 75% full with food waste. We'll run Eco mode, it'll greatly reduce the bulk, and then we'll throw more food waste on top and keep doing cycles so that older dirt gets broken down even more and the newer stuff gets turned progressively into dirt until we have enough in that we want to go and empty it. Eco Express mode is the harshest, however. It uses the most heat and it definitely nukes any microbes in there, so it's not creating real compost. And that's an important distinction. What you're making with the Lomi is not compost that you can go out and use right away. You're not supposed to use the dirt with your plants without treating it with something, without putting microbes back into it. You can use it as the starter for compost, which is something that you might want to look into. But what you're really doing is reducing the bulk of your food. To create compost, you have to go to the Grow mode. We'll talk about that in a second. Lomi approved mode is pretty cool. It reduces the bulk of bioplastics. So if you have approved bioplastics, which is renewable packaging that's not based on petroleum products, you can cut it up into smaller pieces, put it in here. On Lomi approved mode, it'll break all of that down, reduce all of the bulk and turn it into dirt. Grow mode is the longest mode. It takes 16 to 20 hours. But because of that, it's a lot gentler, and that's essential for preserving microbes that you would want in your dirt if you're going to use it as compost. Now, if you do want to use this with plants, Lomi makes Lomi pods. These Lomi pods add microbes so that you can use the final product, that dirt, with plants. You can put it on plants and use them to grow. Here's some reasons you might not want to buy the Lomi. It's expensive. It costs about $500 for the unit. Then there are ongoing costs. You have to replace the charcoal about every 3 months. A 90 cycle supply costs about $50. And the Lomi pods have to be purchased as well if you're creating real compost that you want to use in your plants. It uses a fair amount of energy. It uses about the same amount of energy as an oven does for 15 minutes at 450 degrees according to Lomi. That may or may not be an issue depending on your power constraints. We're on a boat, so power actually is an issue, but we haven't found it to be too big of a deal, and when we're in the slip, it's actually perfect for us because we're running on shore power. Here are some reasons you might want to buy the Lomi. It's really convenient. It reduces the bulk of food waste significantly. That's great for the sheer convenience factor of it. It's also great because you're keeping a lot of food waste out of landfills. One cool thing, our kids really love this. They love putting food in there. They call it Princess Food Crusher. That's their little nickname for our unit. So Princess Food Crusher opens up and gobbles up their food and turns it into dirt. And it's cool to see them so engaged with that process. It allows us an entry point for teaching them about compost, teaching them about the life cycle of organic matter. Another important question, is this actually helping the environment? Or is it more of a greenwashing, kind of make you feel good about yourself gimmick? That's a good question, and it's one that varies by case. It depends on a lot of factors, including where you're getting your energy, whether your energy comes in whole or in part from renewable sources. Lomi has a really handy graph that tells you exactly how much energy, how much power the Lomi is using in its various cycles. For an average user, you're reducing carbon emissions from food waste by using the Lomi about 67%. That's pretty significant. You're keeping waste out of the landfill, which is the primary driver of carbon emissions from food waste. So yeah, it actually is helping the environment in an average use case. There are other cases where you're doing much better if you're using power from renewable sources. Lomi estimates it's well over 100% reduction in CO2 emissions from food waste. There are also use cases, however, where it is not as ideal. You're probably not really doing much. I'll put a link in the article with all that information so you can figure out your situation. So we're using it multiple times a day, and so far we really love it. It's a product I highly recommend, and I think you should check it out if your use case is similar to ours.